Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here an article coming from Russia where we have Dmitry Medvedev, the former Russian president, the former president of the Russian Federation, making some statements. And the statements, are important because knowing your enemy and knowing yourself will help you succeed in whatever competition you will have, or war with the enemy. In this case, you have Russia and you have the Western coalition, which I would just call United States of America, basically because it drags everybody else after it. The other ones are just bottom-feeding countries. So I would pay attention to whatever my enemy says and try to understand my enemy's way of thinking so I can use it for my benefit, right, to win this fight. So I will not discard a person like Medvedev making some serious statements. Now, let's see what he said and how probably this is analyzed by the all-knowing leaders of the West. This article comes from Reuters, but I'm not going to read it from Reuters because Reuters are weasels. And it is from today, February 4th, 2023. The title is Russia's Medvedev says more US weapons supplies mean, and I'm quoting, all of Ukraine will burn. This is the bad dude right here, okay? Who at one point was considered the most pro-Western Russian politician at the highest level. So, more weapons mean all of Ukraine will burn. So I'm going to go to this, Hindustan, which has the same thing right here, and it comes from Reuters right here. And I will go to these guys, again, they come from Reuters. So I'm going to use this article, younger. Anyway, Russia's Medvedev says more US weapons supplies mean, and I'm quoting, all of Ukraine will burn. And I'm quoting, all of Ukraine that remains under Kiev's rule will burn, end quote. Journalist Nadana Fridriksson quoted former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev as saying in a written interview with her. So this was published in Reuters first, by Reuters. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said that supply of more advanced US weaponry to Ukraine will only trigger more retaliatory strikes from Russia, up to the extent of Russia's nuclear doctrine. Now, I started with something this video, now I'm going to use that something. Pay attention to what those guys, your enemy, is saying. Take into consideration or discard. It's up to you. And I'm quoting, all of Ukraine that remains under Kiev's rule will burn, end quote. Journalist Nadana Fridriksson quoted him as saying in a written interview with her. Fridriksson asked Medvedev, who as deputy chairman of the Security Council has become one of Russia's most hawkish pro-war figures since its invasion of Ukraine, whether the use of longer-range weapons might force Russia to negotiate with Kiev. How dumb can you be to ask that question? That made them just drop their weapons and drop their pants with the weapons and bend over and say, yeah, let's go. Is that, I mean, anyway, she just wanted this guy to say what he will say. And I'm quoting, the result will be just the opposite, end quote. Medvedev replied in comments that Fridriksson posted on her Telegram channel. And I'm quoting, only moral freaks, of which there are enough both in the White House and in the Capitol, can argue like that. Did you hear that? So he thinks that whoever thinks that supplying weapons to Ukraine will have the Russians drop their pants and their weapons are just moral freaks, according to Medvedev. And he points out to the ones, some, they are in the White House and some in the Washington, D.C. Capitol. The Pentagon said on Friday that a new rocket that would double Ukraine's strike range was included in a $2.175 billion U.S. military aid package. 2.1, or let's say round it up to $2.2 billion going to Ukraine. Who's going to pay for that? The taxpayers eventually. So yeah, thank you very much, Biden administration. With the first anniversary of the invasion approaching on February 24th, Russian forces have been on the back foot for the last 8 months. Do you mean back foot being on defensive because the other guys are on offensive? Can you give me more than 2 examples out of, I don't know, 50 coming from the other side? Again, anyway, they decided to use this. I would not, I can't change anything but point out that I think this is a weasel move right here. So it says the Russian forces have been on the back foot. I don't think they were on back foot. Look on the map. God damn it. And do not fully control any of the 4 Ukrainian provinces that Moscow has unilaterally declared part of Russia. Well, I would say that Crimea is controlled fully, but anyway, but yeah, I know what you're trying to prove, my lady. Who's here? Let's see, who's who, what's what. We don't have a name here. I think we have in this Weasel article. And the name, no, Reuters don't provide any names. Jesus. But anyway, someone must have done this. Read the article. I don't want to read the article. I want to know who the weasel was. Anyway, I don't think it was that lady Svensson Friedrichsson, because she just did it on the Telegram or whatever that was, right? And Telegram was it? Anyway, unimportant. She just, and Telegram channel. But this article is written by someone else about that, from Reuters, name unknown. With the first anniversary, okay, approaching on February 24th, Russian forces have been on the back foot for the last 8 months and do not fully control any of the 4 Ukrainian provinces that Moscow has unilaterally declared part of Russia. President Vladimir Putin casts Russia's campaign in Ukraine as an existential defense against an aggressive West and has, like Medvedev, several times brandished the threat of a nuclear response, saying Russia will use all available means to protect itself and its people. All right, I know only one leader, if I may use this term for Zelensky, who stated that the West should use preemptive nuclear strike in Ukraine war. And I will put him on the same level in this kind of statements with Kadyrov, the Chechen considered crazy by the West, who said the same thing. Russia should use, that's what Kadyrov said, use some low-level nuclear weapons in Ukraine. So yeah, Kadyrov and Zelensky. I heard other crazies saying that, but I never heard Putin saying that straight like that, or, But anyway, what do you want? This is media we have to deal with. Ask what would happen if the weapons that Washington has promised Ukraine were to strike Crimea, which Russia seized from Ukraine in 2014 by a referendum, I might mind you, and a vote on voting for independence, like Kosovo, baby doll. Or deep into Russia. Medvedev said Putin had addressed the matter clearly. Yes, he did that before when he said it, but let's see what he answered here. And I'm quoting, "We don't set ourselves any limits. So, and depending on the nature of the threats, we are ready to use all types of weapons in accordance with our doctrinal documents, including the fundamentals of nuclear deterrence." End quote. He said, and I'm quoting again, "I can assure you that the answer will be quick, tough, and convincing." End quote. So he said, well, we're going to use anything we want. We're going to use anything that's going to be quick. And if the attacks or the threats posed to us will, be able to be applied to certain doctrines, we will not shy away from doing that. And I assure you, he said, that the answer will be quick, tough, and convincing. Russia's nuclear doctrine allows for a nuclear strike after, and I'm quoting, aggression against the Russian Federation with conventional weapons when the very existence of the state is threatened. End quote. So, after, that's the word. You know what the U.S. doctrine for using nuclear weapons says? Well, they say preemptive. They have that little thing, preemptive, and the Russians said, you know what, maybe we're going to use the same thing. Maybe. They didn't change that to preemptive, but the Americans have it. So they can use it, the American doctrine says preemptive, they can use that. The Russian says, They have, I think, 4 points over there, and they all talk about being threatened, the existence of the Russian state, their allies, and all this. Well, that's with this. And as I said, you look at it and you can laugh and call it macho, as he was called before, speaking tough and all that. Well, if you decide to do that when you fight someone, and you discard some statements that someone makes, and the problem is that guy has the possibility to follow through with the threats. So that's another stupid thing. It's like here he's got a gun and you get in a fist fight, and the guy is telling you, well, if you threaten me or with losing, that I'm going to lose, and I see I'm losing, I'm eager, to use that. And you say, well, it's okay then. What are you going to do? Because if you start beating the guy and you're winning, he already said he's going to get further than that. So what are you going to do? Shouldn't you just say, you can't lose? But if you win, you're going to go to that place. So what are you going to do as a logical human being? Try to say, okay, time out, let's talk what up and what's going on. But how do you think you're going to do that? Unless I attack your brain, which is the leadership, and I make you forget about that, or I make change your decisions, or I make you forget about having the gun and making threats and all that. How do you do that? And cooperate with me. Drop the gun, give me the gun or something. How do I do that? By making sure the Russian leadership is gone, which I think I assessed the number to about 300 of them. So 300 of them gone from military, from leadership position in politicals and social life. And then you put your weasels, which are plenty of, ready to go. And then you will do exactly what you want them to do. Bend over, take the pants down, and let's go. This is what's going to be. It's only rock and roll. You'll see. And then who's going to control the Russian nuclear arsenal? Who's going to control the politics? Who's going to control the resources? Remember, that's what it is, the energy resources. Who? They're going to be contracts awarded by the winners, right? To whom? To everybody? No, it's not going to be competition. All of a sudden, they will not like capitalism. They will like socialism. Because that's the way it is. Over there is socialism, down here, capitalism. Cutthroat capitalism, I must say. Anyway, so, thank you very much for being with me again today. I hope these guys listen to this guy, to Medvedev at least, but pay attention, not listen, but pay attention. And they do, because they put it on Reuters, by Reuters, but the leadership here, I think it's in its self-induced narcissistic drug, and they think they're all that, and they will dictate who and who. And they've been able to do this for at least 30 years unchallenged. The problem is, I think things changed. Thank you very much. For the best for, I think, some, because we like diversity, right? Diversity is our strength, but not for some who like, should be only one, must be only one. Okay, the good, the good. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.